Clean your yard up, get rid of an old car, and help the vets. We make it easy. Make this free call now. Book your fast and easy pickup.
Welcome to Vital Signs. We are here because we believe in sharing all things healthcare and wellness. What's new? What's disruptive? What can we do to be more educated and bring ourselves, our communities, our health into the next level? I'm really excited because today I have with us in studio Recovery Unplugged. So we're going to be talking about revolutionizing mental health and well-being in our communities and our world. But first, remember that this is not a substitute for medical advice. If you are having any challenges, please seek out your practitioner. If you would like more information on practitioners, you can always reach out. But without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Andrew and Joseph of Recovery Unplugged. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
So, you are revolutionizing mental health, wellness, and treatment and care through music. What's that about?
Well, let me show you real quick. Sé que hayas nacido en la cara buena del mundo. Yo nací en la cara mala, llevo la marca del lado oscuro y no me sonrojo si te digo que te quiero. Y que me dejes o te deje, eso ya no me da miedo. Había sido, sin dudarlo, la más bella de entre todas las estrellas que yo vi en el firmamento. ¿Cómo ganarse el cielo cuando uno ama con toda el alma? Ves el cariño que te tengo, no se paga con dinero. ¿Cómo decirte que sin ti muero y no me sonrojo si te digo que te quiero y que me dejes o te deje? Eso ya no me da miedo. Había sido, sin dudarlo, la más bella de entre todas las estrellas que yo vi en el firmamento.
Wow, you gave me chills. Chills. That was phenomenal. There was so much emotion behind that. Can you kind of share the story behind why you shared that song in particular?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, we're talking about being disruptive in the mental health space, right? And for me personally, right, I'm a person in long-term recovery. I struggled with addiction for many years. And during my addiction, I was very close with my grandfather, who was also struggling with Alzheimer's. And unfortunately, he passed away just before I got sober. And so he was never able to see me as a happy, healthy, whole human being. And I struggled for years to heal that wound, to kind of rectify that relationship that I had with the memory of my grandfather. And one day that song came on randomly on the radio and reminded me so much of him because it was one of his favorite songs. And it took me from my higher level memories of surface level stuff into these deeper memories. You know, it brought me back to a place where I remembered not just that he had a mustache, but what it would feel like when he would give me a kiss on my cheek and his mustache would scratch me, and what it felt like to be in his presence. And through this magical moment with that song, I was able to heal this wound that traditional therapy, 12-step recovery hadn't been able to heal for me.
Wow, that's powerful. And so I've still got chills. It's crazy. You've taken that into your treatment and you've incorporated music and therapy. What is that like? How does that go? How is that working for you and your clientele?
Well, what we found is that, most people when they're seeking recovery end up with something like 6 instances of treatment before they attain a lasting recovery. And most treatment programs that we find in the United States are very similar, very shades of kind of the same thing with a little flavor thrown in there. So clients that come to us are looking for something revolutionary. They're looking for something different. They're looking for a new hope that something can be different this time. So we've taken music and incorporated it into, using it as a catalyst and using that healing power to make all these other modalities of treatment to enhance them and to bring a brand new, powerful experience to our clients. And not just in a way where, we play guitars one group a day or play some music, but where it's incorporated into every step of what we do, from the first phone call a client reaches out to Recovery Unplugged all the way up until their discharge plan, where we're giving them what we call musical prescriptions, where they've got these playlists as far as, how am I going to handle anxiety? Well, I've got this playlist of songs that I know help me personally with my anxiety, and so on and so forth.
And music is a universal language.
Everywhere you go. One of our leaders talks about how, the first music we hear is our mother's heartbeat when we're in the womb. So we really are programmed to use music to tap into some really deep and powerful things within us.
That's so fantastic. And so you are really running this ship, Andrew. Like, how did this come to be? Like, what started it, and how are you revolutionizing therapy in this world?
Well, it's definitely not something that I thought I'd be involved with. I'm not a musician myself. And so years ago, my wife and I were helping several family members that were battling mental health and addiction. We were in and out of different treatment centers that we were both, paying for. And so, the culmination of just the revolving door that wasn't working culminated with one of our family members being arrested, another one, ODing, living. And so I was introduced to a gentleman that helped create the mental health and drug court system so people would get treatment instead of jail. And so the idea there was that, most people that are battling, mental health issues and addiction, they're not bad people, they're not criminals, they're just, struggling. And so when we met, he had this idea of using music as a catalyst for therapy and didn't know how to take it to the next level. And so I came in, and the original idea was for us just to have a small, 20-bed facility in Fort Lauderdale to help my own family members. I had made the joke that it was cheaper for me to open up my own treatment center than keep paying for other ones.
I don't doubt that.
And originally it was, but then once I saw the transformation with our own family, once I saw people actually getting better in a way that I'd never seen before, I gave up everything else I was doing, to do this full time. And we started in Florida, in Fort Lauderdale, and then soon, once we had that, working the way that we wanted to, said, okay, music, we're going to go to Austin, and that's how we met, Joseph originally, and then from there, Nashville, Music City, and we also have D.C. metro area in Virginia, Southern Jersey, South Carolina, and so, over the last decade, it's been a journey in trying to help as many people as we could. We focused only on the addiction world at first, and then we saw through COVID how many people were struggling with anxiety, depression, PTSD, and trauma. And so now that we have a model that we understand works, we have a 7-year outcome study from Nova Southeastern University showing why what we're doing is working better than most things out there. We've now added to what we did in the addiction side to also the mental health side.
And, truly, music as an icebreaker to kind of, ease into conversation, because sometimes when we are dealing with mental health issues, I have a lot of that in my families and friends as well. And so it's been a part of my life, and I'm a big advocate for mental health. Everyone here knows that I'm a huge donor for nonprofits in that space. But the real thing that strikes me is music as a universal language breaks down the initial barrier and allows people to get vulnerable because they're feeling the same way when the music goes through. So does that help initially build the rapport that lets in the other modalities that ultimately result in the awesome success that you're having?
So 100%, that's exactly the original intent, is to break down defenses and build rapport. And so when I first heard the concept, our other founding partner, Richie Supa, who had toured for 40 years with everyone from Aerosmith to writing songs for Hall & Oates and other amazing groups, he came up with the original concept called Recovery Unplugged. And he had this idea of using music in detox centers to connect to people, to break down that initial defense. And so that was the original impetus of how this started. And then we took that to the levels that we're at now.
And, when I was talking earlier about how it's incorporated into everything, it really is. So one of the things that we do right off the bat to start to build rapport, because you're exactly right, that's one of the first benefits of using it, is we ask clients before they come in, what's your favorite song? Who's your favorite artist? What's your favorite genre? So if you tell me, my favorite artist is Patsy Cline, right? Well, when we come to pick you up from the airport and we've got you in the office doing your initial intake paperwork, we're going to be playing Patsy Cline. And we're not going to blast it and be like, hey, you said you like... No, we're just going to have it on because that music that you love, that you're familiar with, is going to lower your cortisol levels, right? So those stress hormones are going to go down, and it's going to start generating oxytocin, which helps you to start to build some rapport with the staff member. At the same time that we're showing you that we're trying to customize treatment for you. And when we're talking about something like addiction, it's an equal opportunity offender, right? So when I look at our client population, white, black, brown, rich, poor, high socioeconomic, low socioeconomic, educated, uneducated, it truly is a melting pot. And when you have that kind of group of people, sometimes it can be hard to find a unifying experience, with so many different backgrounds. But music is universal.
I absolutely love that. Unfortunately, we do have to take a brief break, but we will be right back after these messages. Have you ever had to hire multiple contractors? It is a daunting task that takes a lot of management time and impacts the core business or the company, the time you spend with your loved ones. At Texas Home Property Solutions, you can count on a responsible company that can tackle all your general contractor needs. Electricity, painting, remodeling, plumbing, air conditioning, and roofing. Hire us and forget it. With over 20 years of experience, Texas Home Property Solution will deliver your project on time and within budget, with the high level of quality and integrity, no matter the size or complexity. If you are a company, a government institution, or an individual who needs a general contractor, you need Texas Home Property Solution. Take a decisive step and call us today for a free consultation. Welcome back to Vital Signs. If you're just tuning in, you're going to want to go to nowmedia.tv, go to shows, and click on Vital Signs and catch the first half of this show. Why? Because we had music in-house. We have Recovery Unplugged in studio with us, and they're sharing about how they're revolutionizing mental health, substance abuse, and everything in between. And we're going to dive right back in with Andrew and Joseph because they are increasing access to mental health and mental wellness, which is so critically necessary here in the United States and in our world. So Andrew, how is it that you are truly opening access and providing improved access in the mental health space?
It's one of those things that we've always wanted to do, but we had to really understand how we were doing things first. And once we were able to work through the addiction side and work it very well, we added right after COVID our mental health program. And so we also transitioned from an out-of-network facility to an in-network facility. So we're now 100% in-network with almost every major insurance carrier. We also have contracts with TRICARE for active military, the VA for veterans, and Medicaid.
Wow, so you're in network with everyone.
Yes, so anybody, anywhere can access care now, and that's really the key. In addition, we're opening our first inpatient mental health facility in South Florida in about in May of this year, and then we're going to be doing the same throughout the country. And what I'm most excited about, and I'm very excited about that, is our online program. Because now there's so many people out there that they need help, they don't know where to get help, and they may not have the resources in their local community, but we have an amazing, truly amazing online program using music as a catalyst for therapy for people that are battling depression, anxiety, PTSD, trauma that they could do from their own home.
Wow. And that's huge because so many people live in more rural areas. Maybe they're an hour and a half outside of a metropolitan area, and they really are very underserved. So I think that's really fascinating. And so what is different? And I'm going to ask because this is something that happens in telehealth. It's a question in telehealth and telemedicine and other. What's different between online versus in person? Do we lose any of that, or are we able to get that same level of care?
Well, I think one of the blessings that came out of COVID is we learned that you can absolutely develop deep and meaningful connections through a screen, right? And I think one of the benefits that we don't talk about enough with the virtual program is that there's still a lot of stigma in our country around substance abuse and mental health issues, to where not just because you live far away from a facility, but because maybe you're concerned about people knowing, seeing you coming. It's a very real thing that people don't want their work finding out or whatever it may be. So making it that much easier to be able to access care from the privacy of your own home, I would argue that you might even feel a little bit more comfortable to let those walls drop and be vulnerable to start to develop these connections.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. And there's a lot of shame associated with mental mental health and well-being, especially about substance abuse, particularly in those with high profile or celebrities, or there's a lot of people who are very visual, or think about physicians. That's a huge issue in some of our medical communities. So how are you able to really bring those people in who maybe don't want to talk about it and they have that much shame around it? You're accessing them in their own home, but how do you bridge that gap and get them to make that phone call?
Yeah. Well, we've created a whole suite of music videos and different educational videos that we have on our YouTube and our different social media channels that we really break down some of these down to basics topics about addiction. And one of the big focuses is on breaking stigma, right? Mm-hmm. Having a problem with alcohol or drugs doesn't make you a bad person, doesn't mean that you're morally weak or anything like that. And the same with depression and anxiety, is educating the population on the fact that very often those are as a result of chemical imbalances within the brain, and that it's okay to ask for help. It doesn't mean that you're less of a person, that you're less of a good person, that you're less of a man, that you're less of a woman, right? It's and normalizing that across the board.
In addition to that, we've now segmented out. We have people that have their higher power in their faith. So we have a faith-based online group right now for people that are battling. We have special programs for nurses and doctors as well. That we have a new first responders program now that we have the contract with the military, and we're working with different police departments that Joseph had set up here in Texas. And so, making people understand and allowing them to understand that there are other people like them out there, right? That breaks down the defenses off the bat, where sometimes you have people that are afraid of somebody, knowing who they are within the community. But when you have, other people of the same mindset in the same group, whether in person or virtually, especially virtually, it's easier.
Okay.
The other thing that's really huge is that we really focus on developing our alumni and continuing to support them afterwards, right? If you're at Recovery Unplugged for any level of care ever, you have access to our alumni services forever. And we love celebrating their victories, right? So as we're celebrating, alumni who are policemen, who are firefighters, who are practitioners, doctors, therapists, etc. They love Recovery Unplugged, so they tend to be very vocal about hey, I just got a year sober, and it's because of this place. So even the alumni help to facilitate that journey of destigmatizing and normalizing asking for help.
Yeah, and it's really great because when you have you've created brand ambassadors for all intents and purposes, and they're the best people to break down those barriers and erase the stigma. So I know a little birdie told me in the background that there is something really new and revolutionary coming. You want to share a little bit about what's happening in that space?
Definitely, and as dealing with technology, things don't always go to the timeline that you think it will. And so I was hoping for this to be in 2023, but it will be in 2024. and we partnered with a company called Good Thoughts. And so we are going to be beta testing their new revolutionary idea of using the metaverse to reach people. And so people will be able to get both addiction and mental health therapy in the metaverse through AR and VR. We're launching that in February as a beta test at Recovery Unplugged. And then once we're able to show how well it works, it will be, out to the masses. And so there's another opportunity where the way I look at everything is that nobody should be denied access to care, and then people that have access shouldn't deny themselves. Mm-hmm. And so you have a huge subset of people taking the military. I have family members that have been in the military for over 30 years, and so has my wife here in Texas. And so, unfortunately, several of their friends, I've spoken to them about this, over the last just couple of years, suicide is huge. And a lot of that has to do with the shame and the guilt in getting therapy. Mm-hmm. And so one of the ideas is that if you're able to go to therapy in the metaverse as an avatar, you're going to be able to get that initial help before you're comfortable actually going yourself. Mm-hmm. The other part of that is that we've seen over the last decade, this large group of young men, 18 to 24, who may not want to show up at treatment, who may not want to go to a Zoom, but could sit on a video game for 48 hours. Mm-hmm. And so same idea there is that if you bring the metaverse concept and they could show up as an avatar of whatever they want or whatever gaming character they want, they're going to go to treatment for the first time where they wouldn't before. And so it's the idea of how to reach people where they're at, and that's what I'm very excited about.
And we talk about the gamification of healthcare being what needs to happen for our health in general, for health and peak human performance moving forward. And you're doing that. You're literally launching that. I'm really excited about that. We are running a little bit brief on time. So how can our audience, our viewers, our listeners reach out to you guys if maybe they have a loved one who needs help, or maybe they are struggling with something in the mental health or substance addiction space? How can they reach out to you?
Well, our website is recoveryunplugged.com, and people can go there, and we have 24-hour life-saving center, 7 days a week, holidays, we're always there. And then if somebody, needs help immediately.
Yeah, we're also accessible we have all the socials, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, it's all the same, Recovery Unplugged. But if you're in one of our where we have physical locations, whether you're in Austin, Texas, or Northern Virginia, or Florida, or any of those parts of the country, come down. We love talking about what we do. We love showing off, our program, our properties. If you're hesitant, come down and meet some people in recovery and see that it's not that scary.
And I'll say lastly, we have a thing we started in Florida called Feel Good Friday, which is right now today, where we have a live in-person concert.
Wow.
For our clients, and we only allow a couple of guests. But a lot of times people that need help, or they have a family member that needs help, that may not want, if they're in town or close by in Austin as well, they could come check out a Feel Good Friday concert.
I love it. And so reach out, Recovery Unplugged. These guys are revolutionizing treatment and mental health and really increasing access. Anything else that you want to leave with our audiences before we break?
For me, again, this is not something I thought I'd be doing, but I'm so grateful that we've had the opportunity to start Recovery Unplugged. And as of December 31st, we helped our 14,000th person. And my own family was our first. And they're alive, they're well, they're thriving, they're helping others. And so I'm excited now to be able to, take this to so many more people through our online program, through the Metaverse program, through our new locations. That for us, it's if you are struggling, no matter what, addiction, mental health, there's resources. And if we can't help you and you call us, we will find a place for you.
So fantastic. Any last words?
I guess just, my own personal experience shows that, no matter how far down you've gone or your loved one has gone, that there's always hope for recovery and for a better life.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your expertise here. We do have to break, but if you are listening and this has triggered something within you and you're like, wow, this might be something that I need to look into for myself or for somebody that I know, please reach out to Recovery Unplugged. We will be right back after these messages.
These are the top 3 questions I get from people about investing in real estate. How much money do I need to get to the next level? How do I find good properties to invest in? Can I even make money in this business when interest rates are so high? I answer these questions and many more in my online course, SFR University, where I show you the strategy that I used to build a multi-million-dollar real estate business in 4 years from scratch. Whether you're just starting out or someone who's looking to scale, this course will have something for you. Join us at sfruniversity.com. See you in the course.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards? It doesn't matter if you're using your credit cards for fun or to survive. At the end of the month, your statements come in, and you can either pay them or you can't. If you can't, late fees and interest rates get tacked on. And now you're struggling just to make the minimum payment due. Do you feel trapped? Am I talking to you? Good, because I personally researched some companies that can help you. They may be able to reduce your credit card balances by 50% and stop the late fees. If you qualify, please call our special debt hotline number right now for a complimentary free 5-minute consultation. Deal with your credit card problem now before it gets much worse and put more money back in your pocket. Trust me, I've been there too. Call right now.
Call 855-993-2096 right now. That's 855-993-2096.
What if this happened to you when you're alone? Or what if it happened here? With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new CareWatch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The CareWatch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your CareWatch for free. The CareWatch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your CareWatch for free. Don't wait. Call us to get your CareWatch right now. Operators are standing by.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Well, here's a great idea. Donate your car now to help local veterans in your area. Yes, just make one fast call to the Veteran Car Donation Program. Within a few days, we'll come and remove your car for free. You can donate any car in any condition. We'll use our vast network to sell it. The proceeds raised go to help local veterans and their families. And you get a tax deduction. And all you need to do is make this free call. Clean your yard up, get rid of an old car, and help the vets. We make it easy. Make this free call now. Book your fast and easy pickup. Call the Veteran Car Donation Program now.
Welcome back to Vital Signs. I am really excited because we're going to talk about what do we do to prepare for pregnancy with our resident fertility expert, Jessica Preston. Welcome back to the studio, Jessica.
Thank you so much for having me back, Jen.
I'm super excited to talk about this because this is something that no one talks about, literally. So let's talk about before pregnancy. What does the health check look like? What should we be doing to prepare for starting our family?
So the best thing to do when you go into your doctor, this can be a family practice physician, it can be an OBGYN, it could be a functional medicine provider. There's a set of labs that we do to check and see where you stand when it comes to general health. So we're looking to see, are you anemic? We're looking for some antibodies. We're looking for some different things. Some offices look at more, some offices look at less, but we have a specific panel that we actually order to see, do we need to do anything to be able to help optimize your health a little bit before you try to conceive. So if all of those things are looking tip-top, then you're in good shape. If you don't conceive within 6 months of getting those labs done, then usually you have to get them done again. So it's good. A panel is good for about 6 months. So if you're planning on getting pregnant a year from now, you might want to wait the 6 months. Now, some people, when it comes to preparing for pregnancy, and we're seeing so much more infertility, it's 1 in 5 couples that are trying to conceive are not able to conceive at this point in time. So a lot of women are becoming very proactive and saying, I just got married, but I'm not going to get pregnant for 2 years. Can I look now? Some offices say no, it's too early, but you can actually start looking at that point in time. And when you want to get your hormones checked, it's something that you could look and see. There are some things you can have regular monthly periods and everything can look perfectly normal, but your hormones tell a different story when you get the blood work done. And so it's really important, if you're interested in looking at that early on, go ahead and get that testing done. If your doctor won't order that, there are some services that do, but all functional medicine offices do.
So we've talked a lot about the female side. Is there something for the men to do or testing on the male side before they realize that, we're not able to conceive?
Right. I will tell you the gold standard test for men is the semen analysis. And every man should get that. As a matter of fact, for the infertility space, if there is a woman who's experiencing infertility and they can't conceive, and you find a female factor, personally, I won't treat that female until I know there is not a male factor, because I want to make sure we're not wasting time. If we need to take care of both of them at the same time, let's get on the ball with both of them at the same time. So it's hard to get men to go get a semen analysis early, and I will tell you it would be the minority that would actually do that. Now, if a man has multiple medical issues that we can see leading to a lower sperm count or a less optimal semen analysis, like if you're a diabetic, if you are really, really overweight, if you have something called metabolic syndrome, so heart disease or high blood pressure, diabetes, all of these issues. If you've ever been diagnosed with low T, which is low testosterone, it'd be a good idea to be able to get that semen analysis earlier so that you can start getting on the ball to see how things need to be fixed. But beyond that, if it's a man who is otherwise healthy, we usually don't get a semen analysis in advance.
Got it. So while we think about this, how can couples, as a couple, really optimize their health prior to conception?
So the best thing to do is look at these 5 areas. So nutrition, making sure we have a good, healthy nutrition that isn't a nutrition plan that is more whole foods with a lot of colors of the rainbow for fruits and vegetables without a lot of processed food or without any. We're looking at appropriate sleep, so sleeping at nighttime, sleeping through the night, trying to get 8 hours of sleep. I know we're saying 8 hours.
Goodness.
I know. I'm giving you optimals here. I'm optimals. Exercise, but not over-exercising or under-exercising. So this would be about 20 to 30 minutes a day of a certain type of exercise that is not too rigorous. This is the appropriate amount for fertility. And I know that
so
a lot moderate
not
exercise,
vigorous?
not vigorous. So
okay, so are
moderate.
we eliminating high impact if we're trying to conceive?
So we are eliminating high impact, but if that's part of what you do already and it's prior to conception and you conceive easily, you're fine, and then we would have you modify accordingly if you don't conceive or easily. So a lot of people that are over-exercisers or high impact, do a lot of high impact, or long-distance runners or people who are out there a lot, are managing something else with their exercise. So they're managing their emotional state or anxiety or whatever it might be. And so we don't want to make a bunch of changes in that if we're not in a good program with support to be able to help you with that, because when one goes up, another goes down.
Of course, of course.
So that leads us to stress. We want to make sure we have decent stress management, and then also relationships. We want to have a good, supportive, loving relationship and good, supportive community.
And so are there any other lifestyle modifications that are absolutely critical when we're preparing for pregnancy?
90s, or if I gave you a lot, I think
That
we're
was
pretty
fine.
good.
Those
Yeah,
are
it's
pretty
good.
comprehensive.
Trying to watch the toxins in your home, watching your cleaning products, and watching what you put on your skin and what you the makeup that you wear if you're women. That's very helpful as well.
So we talked a lot about nutrition. We've talked about it on other shows. We talked about stress. We talked about sleep. I know the sleep thing is like the foundation of health. I get the biggest kickback from that.
Yeah.
But we haven't really touched a lot on relationships. So talk to me about what does that look like in preparation for conception. That they can start the journey, because we don't know. If 1 in 5 couples are not able to conceive when they want to, that's a large percentage, and we don't know that when we're family planning. So what kind of conversations should we be having?
Yes, even before while you're even fertile, while you even are thinking about not even considering infertility, you're going to be bringing another human being into your home and into your relationship. And so it's really important to look at relational equity. What are you doing? What am I doing? Not equality, not you do 50%, I do 50%, but where do you serve the best role in our relationship? Where do I serve the best role? How do we meet each other's needs? How do we love each other well? Because when you bring a child into your life, you're going to struggle with that balance, and you're going to put yourselves last, because you have an infant you have to keep alive, and all of your focus with first baby is going to be on that. So really being ready for that. There's a book called Fair Play. I can't remember the author right at this moment. It's on our website, but you can read Fair Play. It's a really good book about how can we have balance. Make lists of what you expect. You're not going to know. You can talk with friends. You don't know what it's like when that baby comes yet. But where is it that you are, I hate doing the dishes. I hate doing the dishes, but I don't mind doing the laundry. So how can we make sure that that's the only problem you'll have is if, but I don't like doing the dishes either. Then you have to figure out how are we going to make a plan, because they still need to get done. But make it non-emotional, non-emotional, because all things are tasks that still need to happen. Mm-hmm. So try to take the emotion out of it, find good times to sit down to have these conversations, and just love each other through it. And when you're trying, have fun. Try to have fun when you're trying.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people, what I hear, well, I've been trying, am I trying too hard?
Yes. Yeah.
So how do you know if you're trying too hard?
If you feel like you're trying too hard, you're trying too hard.
If you're thinking about it,
you're trying too hard. And then we need to kind of set back a little bit and say, what do I need? And if you need to take a month off, you take a month off. It's just a month. When you take a month off, you actually alleviate a lot of pressure on yourself, because you're not watching every day go by. Did I get pregnant this month? And then waiting 2 weeks to see, is my pregnancy test positive? There's a lot of pressure in that time. So if you need to take a month off, having sex for fun or no sex at all, I would hope you still have sex for fun, or other things, be spontaneous and have other fun and go that direction, I think is very helpful. But I think what is hard when we're trying is, first of all, we were told don't get pregnant from a young age, and we are, especially professional women, if you've been contracepting in some way, you are not doing that, and then all of a sudden when you try, you feel like you're breaking the rules, you're doing something wrong. And then if it doesn't happen right away, then it's just one other
what's wrong
dilemma
with me?
Right on
what
top
am I doing
of it,
yep.
Right on top of it. And then you're having sex on a cycle and on demand, and that is never fun. And that's when our male counterparts all of a sudden, I think, get a lot more stress. There's a lot more emasculation in that space, because now it has to happen right now. There can be performance anxiety and performance pressure and performance issues when we see that, which can then lead to more emotional issue when it comes to relationships. So having that cohesive relationship is so important.
And have the conversations. Have the conversations up front. If we have a trouble, what is this going to look like? How am I going to know? What's our safe word?
That's it. Oh my gosh. Yes, absolutely. And make it a silly one, just so you can have a timeout.
Yeah, absolutely. I really appreciate this. And so if people are going through this process, they're looking at learning more, and they want to reach out to you, how can they get in touch with you?
Thank you. We are denovofertility.com. You can find us on our website, and you can either ask questions there, or you can sign up for a phone call with one of us. You'll get one of us that you would be working with in one of our coaching programs on the phone, and we'll talk with you about your needs and see how we can best assist you, and if not, so we can get you to the right resources that would assist you. We're on all main social media. We're De Novo Fertility Community on Facebook, and on Instagram and TikTok, we are De Novo Fertility.
Thank you so much for your expertise. I really appreciate you. You always bring us amazing nuggets of information. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
And we do have to take a brief break, but we will be right back after these messages.
These are the top 3 questions I get from people about investing in real estate. How much money do I need to get to the next level? How do I find good properties to invest in? Can I even make money in this business when interest rates are so high? I answer these questions and many more in my online course, SFR University, where I show you the strategy that I used to build a multi-million-dollar real estate business in 4 years from scratch. Whether you're just starting out or someone who's looking to scale, this course will have something for you. Join us at sfruniversity.com. See you in the course.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards? It doesn't matter if you're using your credit cards for fun or to survive. At the end of the month, your statements come in, and you can either pay them or you can't. If you can't, late fees and interest rates get tacked on. And now you're struggling just to make the minimum payment due. Do you feel trapped? Am I talking to you? Good, because I personally researched some companies that can help you. They may be able to reduce your credit card balances by 50% and stop the late fees. If you qualify, please call our special debt hotline number right now for a complimentary free 5-minute consultation. Deal with your credit card problem now before it gets much worse and put more money back in your pocket. Trust me, I've been there too. Call right now.
Call 855-993-2096 right now. That's 855-993-2096.
What if this happened to you when you're alone? Or what if it happened here? With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new CareWatch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The CareWatch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your CareWatch for free. The CareWatch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your CareWatch for free. Don't wait. Call us to get your CareWatch right now. Operators are standing by.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Well, here's a great idea. Donate your car now to help local veterans in your area. Yes, just make one fast call to the Veteran Car Donation Program. Within a few days, we'll come and remove your car for free. You can donate any car in any condition. We'll use our vast network to sell it. The proceeds raised go to help local veterans and their families. And you get a tax deduction. And all you need to do is make this free call. Clean your yard up, get rid of an old car, and help the vets. We make it easy. Make this free call now. Book your fast and easy pickup. Call the Veteran Car Donation Program now.
Welcome back to Vital Signs. We're going to shift gears just a little bit, and we're going to talk today about occupational health and safety regulations with our legal expert, Jason. Welcome back, Jason.
Hi, Jen. Thanks for having me. I'm Jason D'Souza. I'm the founder of D'Souza Injury Lawyers. Our principal office is in San Antonio, and we have clients all over the state.
Jason, what are the most important OSHA regulations that small businesses must comply with?
Well, so OSHA is the federal agency. It stands for Occupational Safety and Health Administration. And I would say that instead of looking at it like what is the number one most or number two most important regulation that any business should follow, because it's any business, not just small business, is be careful who you contract with. So I think on an earlier segment we had talked about I have a principle in business where not all money is good money. Just because there's money involved doesn't mean that I necessarily want that money or that I want to be involved in that type of deal with that money just because the money's involved. So the reason that's relevant is to any business, be careful who you contract with, because there's a lot of bad actors out there who they regularly violate safety regulations. They regularly have numerous deaths that pile up on their job sites. They regularly don't follow their own safety regulations. There are bosses out there who frankly could care less about safety regulations or safety equipment or safety gear. So I'd say all the OSHA regulations matter. You know, it's kind of like if you were to ask somebody, well, scratch that. I think all the OSHA regulations matter, and the reason all of them matter is that every regulation can be tied in to another regulation. I tried to think of an analogy. I don't really have a good analogy to give you, except all the regulations are important regulations. There's no one that's supremely more important than the other. Now, the reason that ties into be careful who you contract with is because if you go and contract with a bad actor, let's say you're in the oil field, or let's say you do production in the oil field, or you do cementing in the oil field, or you do workover rigs in the oil field. If you decide that there's a company out there who can either get you a job and they're going to pay you a lot to get on this site, or there's a supplier that you can hire and they're really cheap for you to get on this site and it would make sense to get the job by hiring them, I would say buyer beware, because it's very easy to look up any company's safety regulations or safety certification, safety history with OSHA and find out what their record looks like. If they're an unsafe company, you don't want to do business with them because you have no idea what regulation that company is going to violate, and you don't want to be left holding the bag. Because if somebody's injured on that oil field, when those lawyers come knocking on the door, as they always do whenever there's an oil field injury, you don't want to be the one left standing when the music stops. And that bad actor who you contracted with because they were either a cheap supplier or they offered a really good contract, they're going to see you, and if they have a chance to throw you under the bus, they're going to do it. We see it all the time. All the time we see it in litigation where a small company will show up and they'll try to do work in the oil field, and the big companies throw the little guys under the bus all the time. Every time, without fail, it's as predictable as the sun coming up and sun setting in the day. So I would say be careful who you contract with, and you could verify that by looking up their safety record. You don't need a lawyer to look up a safety record. If you know how to look up the weather on your phone on Google, you know how to look up a company's OSHA safety record. It's very easy.
Wow, that's a lot. How can businesses stay updated on changes in health and safety laws?
Well, OSHA offers an OSHA 10-hour course, and in that course, you can go to it, somebody at your company can go to it, and all it is just like a refresher course that you can attend and go to OSHA and become OSHA certified. Now, if you believe that that is just too much for you, or it's too much of a burden, or you don't have the time for it, or nobody in your organization is qualified for something like that, you can always bring in an outside consultant. Whenever we file suit in commercial lawsuits against oil field companies or trucking companies or company vehicles, for example, one of the things that we always look at is what is their level of training and retraining of their employees to make sure that they're following the best standards in the industry. And I think a company that has a consultant that comes in once a year and teaches employees and talks to employees about good safety processes and good reporting and hours of work and stop work authority. Stop work authority is a big deal. If you empower your people your employees to know that you care about the safe environment in which they operate, then they'll be empowered to operate a safe environment. They'll know that the boss cares about a safe environment, and they'll know that the boss wants a safe environment to happen. Because then if something happens, the boss can always show up and say, hey, come on guys, we have a safety plan in place, we have a safety consultant in place, we make sure to do the safest things all the time. How did this happen? And that way you can determine, I had mentioned this in an earlier episode, you can determine whether this is a system failure or a person failure. And if it turns out to be a person failure, you can find out how that person failed and why they failed. So I think it's real important to hire a consultant. Just bring them in once a year. All of the drivers, I'll give you an example. At my law firm, for example, they're required to do biannual driver testing, in-car driver testing. Just like when you were 16 years old and you had to sit in the car and do the testing, I require anybody who drives a company vehicle, every 6 months, they've got to go through a period of retraining. And they find out the safest way to drive vehicles, the safest way to operate vehicles, the optimal speed to drive, the best routes to drive, basically how to be a safe driver whenever you're driving the law firm's vehicles. And I think that the people that you have on your sites as a business owner, the employees that you have on your sites are your representatives on the ground for what kind of business you're actually running. And to show people what kind of business you're running, it's best to bring in an outside consultant and show them.
Interesting. What are the consequences of non-compliance with OSHA standards for a small business?
Well, again, just like any business, whether you're a small, medium, or large business, the consequences for non-compliance with OSHA only show up when you've got an injury on the site. And let me issue a warning to all business owners about OSHA. Let me tell you what OSHA is all about from the perspective of a plaintiff's lawyer. If you have an injury on the site, if you're in the oil field or you're in the trucking business that caters to the oil field, for example, I'm just going to use the oil field for this example. If there's an injury on that site and OSHA shows up, OSHA is pointing the finger squarely at the business owner. They're not pointing the finger at anybody else first, apart from who the employer is of the injured person. The first place they always go is they blame the employer, because the employer had access to training of that employee, the employer had access to control over that employee, the employer had access to safety gear over that employee. The employer is the point of contact for that injured or dead employee. So the consequence of non-compliance with OSHA for any business is you're going to be fined by OSHA, and they'll determine the amount of the fine. And those fines, from what I've seen, are not small. I mean, I regularly see, for small, minor, so-called minor injuries, I regularly see fines of about $40,000 to $45,000, depending on how the violation occurred, because what they really want to do is they want to send a message to that business. So that's why it's so important to pick who it is that you contract with. Because if you're going to go and contract with an unsafe company and one of your people becomes injured, you're going to take the hit. You could point all day long to that unsafe company, but it's not going to matter if it's your guy who got injured. Now, that's consequence number one, is fines. Well, consequence number one is your people get injured or killed. I mean, that's terrible. No employer, no boss ever wants somebody who works for them to ever be hurt or injured or killed, God forbid. And that's number one. That's the first consequence. Second consequence is the OSHA fines. The third consequence is, and again, it happens all the time, OSHA may decide that they're going to bring in other federal or state agencies to investigate this injury and this non-compliance. So, an example, because OSHA frequently gets involved in the oil field, so I'll go back to the oil field. If you have a case of water contamination and an injury resulted from the workover rig, so they were repairing the drilling rig that goes into the ground to drill, and if a worker became injured or killed, and as a result of that injury or death, the rig contaminated the water. Well, guess what? Now you got OSHA involved, now you got TCEQ involved, and now you may even have the EPA involved. And now you got three agencies, two are federal, a third one is a state agency, And you could very well have more federal agencies that get involved to figure out what happened. Now, again, going back to the OSHA fines, not only will OSHA fine you for the unsafe conduct of that workover rig while you were drilling near the water aquifer, but OSHA could also turn around and bring in TCEQ, who regulates the state water system. And they could hit you with a remediation fine, meaning you've got to go fix it. You broke it, you buy it. And you have no idea how much groundwater you may have contaminated. You could be looking at a fine of, maybe as small as drilling a new well, which is $35,000. Or maybe you got to remediate the entire aquifer, and you could be looking at millions of dollars. Who knows? But again, it's just that important to make sure that you are contracting with good people and not bad people. Because when things really go bad, if you're contracting with bad people, you're going to get a bad result.
Thank you so much for that valuable information. I know it is a convoluted thing. So how can people reach out to you if they're interested in learning more or they have a situation such as this?
Yes. Well, of course, you can find us at our office in San Antonio. But just because we're in San Antonio doesn't mean that we don't represent clients all over the state. In Dallas and Houston, San Antonio, down in the valley, all points in between, Laredo, everywhere. You could find us if you go to Google, search up D'Souza Injury Lawyers. You could look for us on Facebook at D'Souza Injury Lawyers. You could find us on Instagram at D'Souza Injury Lawyers. Also, if you want to shoot me a text because you may know somebody who's been injured, feel free to text me and reach out. My cell phone number is area code 210-591-9777. Thanks for having me, Jen.
Unfortunately, all good things come to an end, including this show, but we will be back same time, same station next week. See you then.
This has been a Now Media Networks feature presentation. All rights reserved.
These are the top 3 questions I get from people about investing in real estate. How much money do I need to get to the next level? How do I find good properties to invest in? Can I even make money in this business when interest rates are so high? I answer these questions and many more in my online course, SFR University, where I show you the strategy that I used to build a multi-million-dollar real estate business in 4 years from scratch. Whether you're just starting out or someone who's looking to scale, this course will have something for you. Join us at sfruniversity.com. See you in the course.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards? It doesn't matter if you're using your credit cards for fun or to survive. At the end of the month, your statements come in, and you can either pay them or you can't. If you can't, late fees and interest rates get tacked on. And now you're struggling just to make the minimum payment due. Do you feel trapped? Am I talking to you? Good, because I personally researched some companies that can help you. They may be able to reduce your credit card balances by 50% and stop the late fees. If you qualify, please call our special debt hotline number right now for a complimentary free 5-minute consultation. Deal with your credit card problem now before it gets much worse and put more money back in your pocket. Trust me, I've been there too. Call right now.
Call 855-993-2096 right now. That's 855-993-2096.
What if this happened to you when you're alone? Or what if it happened here? With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new CareWatch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The CareWatch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your CareWatch for free. The CareWatch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your CareWatch for free. Don't wait. Call us to get your CareWatch right now. Operators are standing by.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Well, here's a great idea. Donate your car now to help local veterans